They say, one afternoon, many years after Edgar Cayce's death, in a small house in Virginia Beach, a woman accidentally discovered a box, old, dust-covered, unlabeled, unlocked. There was only a single piece of paper stuck to the outside, its faded writing barely legible, to be opened only after 70 years. She didn't know why her hands began to tremble. The air around her seemed to thicken. And when the lid finally creaked open, the world opened with it. Inside the box were yellowed pages, some with torn corners wrapped in a thin piece of linen. Among them was a transcript, unsigned, unnamed, yet written in a voice unmistakable. Every word, every phrasing carried the tone of someone long silent for over 70 years, Edgar Cayce. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't a prophecy. It was a conversation, an interview. The one asking the questions was not a journalist, not a doctor, not someone looking to publish the truth, but someone who asked softly, as if they already knew the answers, yet needed to hear them once more from Cayce's own soul. Where do we go after death? Do souls truly exist? Can I choose to live again? And those I loved, where are they now? Cayce did not answer as a prophet. He did not preach. He did not reassure. He simply told a story. That after death, there are 7 levels, 7 doors through which every soul, without exception, must pass. And the most frightening thing does not lie in what we see outside, but in what we have never dared to face within. These pages, according to those who spoke of them, were never published. They are not found in national libraries. No copies exist in any formal archive. But they've been quietly replicated, passed down through generations, in the shadows of the internet, in whispered stories, in the recurring dreams of strangers who've never met, but all saw the same thing. A corridor of mirrors, a stream of unmoving water, a door with no handle, and the distinct feeling that someone is watching you from inside yourself. And just like the woman who opened that box, you might feel deep within your chest something beginning to stir. Not fear, not quite belief, but a remembrance. There is a realm few ever realize they've passed through, not because it is too far, but because it is too close. Edgar Cayce called it the transitional plane, the very first place the soul enters after leaving the body, without ever knowing it has left. He described it as a heavy dream, where you try to rise, but your limbs feel like stone, where every movement slows as if wading through thick water, where memories, sounds, and images blur, but never fully vanish. At this level, souls often cling to what they once loved, feared, or regretted. A mother who just passed sits beside her son's bed, unaware he can no longer hear her. An old man, having drawn his last breath, still tries to walk downstairs to make his usual morning tea. A girl who ended her own life runs endlessly through the dormitory hall where she once felt abandoned. These souls don't see death. They only feel interruption. Here, there are no angels, no punishments, only you and the repeating reflections of the life you just left behind. Some souls remain here for a very long time, not because they are trapped, but because they don't believe they are dead, or they don't want to believe. Perhaps you've walked into a room and felt a sudden chill, not from the weather, but as if someone stood behind you, silent, untouched, waiting to be noticed. Perhaps you've dreamed of a departed loved one, yet the dream didn't feel nostalgic. They asked you where they were. They wanted you to help them reach someone, or they just sat there silent with distant eyes. When you dream of the dead and feel no fear, they may have passed through the first realm. But if you wake with a heaviness in your chest or unexplained tears, you may have stood beside a soul not yet set free. This transitional plane was once called the near shore by ancient mystics. It belongs to neither this world nor the next a realm in between. Souls here often anchor themselves to physical objects, a photograph, a shirt, an old room. They live in loops that stretch for years, even decades. They do not seek to harm, but they long to be acknowledged. And it is in that longing that the light begins to show. Souls are not led onward by command. They are awakened only when the memory of light within begins to stir. And that light does not come from outside. It flickers from deep within, like an ancient instinct never truly lost. Only when the soul begins to ask questions does the true journey begin. Cayce once shared a special case, a woman who died peacefully in her sleep. She lingered in the first realm for 19 years. She clung to her wedding ring left in a drawer, not out of regret, but because she didn't believe she was worthy to move on. "I haven't finished anything. I'm not good enough to be freed." Those were her final words, before she dissolved into a light as thin as mist. Have you ever felt as if you're not fully awake in your current life? Perhaps you are not dead, but you are living like a soul, not yet ready to release a past death. The first realm is not only for the dead, it is where many of the living remain stuck. Every time you cling to what's already past, every time you repeat a fear, a regret, or an unspoken word, you are living as if you never dared to close what has already died within you. And like those first souls who stepped into the journey, your journey will only truly begin when you have the courage to face what you have not yet let go. If the first realm is where the soul still wanders among fragmented memories, then the second realm is where those memories begin to speak, but not with your voice, with the voices of those you once touched in life. This realm holds no darkness, but it also holds no forgiveness, only truth, a truth that cannot be justified. Here, the soul begins to relive its life, but not from within, from the outside. You will see yourself through the eyes of others. You will feel the sadness of the one you once hurt, the loneliness of the child you once yelled at, the broken trust in the partner you turned your back on. The things you forgot, they still remember. The wounds you thought were small left scars that never faded in the hearts of others. And now you feel it all. There are no excuses, no circumstances, only emotion raw and undeniable. But it is here too that you will discover something you may never have known you left behind. A gentle comfort to a stranger. A hug given at the right time. A simple phrase that helps someone hold on during the darkest moment of their life. The second realm is not only a place of pain, it is also a realm of light, a light born from the things you gave without asking for anything in return. Edgar Cayce called it the realm of remorse, but not a remorse rooted in fear, rather a profound awakening, a moment of seeing yourself clearly through the eyes of others, an unspoken apology, a depth of understanding so complete you no longer wish to look away. Yet, there are some souls who, upon feeling it all, step back. They cannot bear the weight of mirrored emotion. They break. They are unable to move forward. For them, remorse never comes, only drifting, a suspended state between guilt and denial. But there are also souls who accept everything, who give thanks for every second they ever existed, despite the mistakes, despite the flaws. And it is they who move forward into the next realm, where awareness is no longer bound to emotion, but expands into the entire structure of existence. But here, in this second realm, pain is the threshold. One you must cross, not to be forgiven, but to truly see yourself without a mask. You might ask yourself whether you've ever left something behind in someone's life without knowing, whether you were once the light in someone's moment of darkness, and whether you are ready to feel yourself from the other side of love and pain. This realm does not exist only after death. It also lives within everyday life. Every time you suddenly realize that someone's silence might have been a voice you never truly listened to. Every time you shed a tear without knowing why, your soul might be reflecting itself from a deeper place. Not all pain is yours, but when you open your heart wide enough to feel it as if it were, you've touched the boundary between ego and compassion, and that is when you are ready for the third realm, where you no longer ask, "Who am I?" but begin to see how everything is connected in a vast tapestry woven of light and meaning. After having felt everything they once sowed in the hearts of others, after enduring the whirlwind of remorse and understanding, the soul enters a new realm. No longer a place of reflection, but a realm where the entire landscape comes into view. The third realm, as Cayce called it, is awareness, not knowledge, not intellect, but emerging with the way all things are connected within an invisible order. Here, there is no sound, no speech, only beings of light, without fixed form, without movement. They exist as pure waves, silent yet intensely powerful. They do not speak in language. They transmit images, feelings, memories, currents of thought without the need for words. And through this, the soul comes to realize it has never been separate. It is a node of light in a vast web, where every soul affects the others through unseen vibrations. Some souls, after encountering these light beings, return to the physical world, but they never come back the same. They become those who see what no one else can see, carrying a kind of memory that is hard to express, like a lucid dream that no longer has words. Edgar Cayce was one of them. He said that his prophecies did not come from speculation, but from this place, the third realm. There, he saw that time is not linear, but layered and simultaneous, like a living map with glowing points, places where an event will unfold unless the energy field changes. He called these points destiny nodes. They are not fixed, but they are near. They are strong. They are real. One of those nodes he saw was set in the middle of the 21st century. He described a vision cities without light, people wearing white masks, children born with memories not belonging to this present, national borders fading not because of war, but because they had lost their meaning. But Cayce did not share this to cause fear. He said that this would be the moment when humanity begins to collectively step into its own third realm. For humanity itself is a soul, a shared entity, undergoing its own transformation. If an individual soul, upon reaching this realm, can return with awareness, then so can humanity. Or it can reject itself and fall into collective amnesia. Awareness is not about seeing the mystical, but the ability to look deep into the essence of things. to no longer be fooled by appearances, to no longer be controlled by fear. In the third realm, the soul begins to remember that it once knew all of this before it was born. And in that moment, a door opens, not to look further, but to move forward into the fourth realm, where the self is no longer the only thing you face, but all the versions of you, the paths you didn't take, the choices you refused, the parallel selves, waiting for you to return and recognize them. But before you get there, you must ask yourself, are you ready to see the world no longer through the lens of the personal? Are you ready to witness the whole tapestry, even if it means you are no longer at the center? Because true awareness is not about knowing. It is about no longer needing to control what you know. If the third realm is where you begin to see the bigger picture, then the fourth realm is where you begin to see yourself. Not the self you lived as, but the one you never lived. Cayce called this place the Hall of Mirrors. There are no walls, only countless doors, and behind each door, another you, a you who forgave instead of resented, a you who became a monk instead of starting a family, a you who let go of fame, a you who made a catastrophic mistake your earthly self never dared to make. And all of them share one thing in common. They are all real. The fourth realm is not hypothetical. It is not a game of imagination. It is a place where every unchosen path still exists as living energy within the soul's field. These versions don't blame you. They don't ask you to become them. They simply appear like mirrors, so you can see that you were never the only possible outcome of your life. And then a truth emerges. You were never limited by circumstances, but by fear, by choices made for safety, not authenticity. And this is what makes this realm the most difficult of all. There is no judgment, no deity to punish you. Only you facing every version of yourself you once turned away from. Some souls upon arriving here cannot bear it. They collapse not from guilt, but from regret. But there are others who, upon seeing all the paths they never walked, smile, not because they are satisfied, but because they understand. Every path had a reason for remaining untraveled. And what matters is not to live all of them, but to witness all of them with gratitude and awakening. In the Hall of Mirrors, you are no longer a singular self. You are a network of choices, a constellation of possibilities. And every decision you made etched a thread of energy into the soul's current. This realm grants a vision no one on earth can truly possess, a view that transcends success or failure, beyond right or wrong. All that remains is you, and the countless yous coexisting in the stillness of awareness. Here, for the first time, you realize that God is not a judge. God is a witness, and the only one judging you is you. But you are also the only one who can forgive yourself, not with words, but with acceptance. So deep that there is no resistance left, no desire to change the past, no longing to redo it, only a complete presence with all that was and all that never was. And it is in this realm that some souls begin to hear the calling ahead, a wordless invitation, a quiet feeling. It is time to move forward, not to become someone else, but to become lighter, to carry no regret, to carry no questions, only the clear knowing that you have seen yourself from every side, and you are still you, but no longer afraid of yourself. That is when the fifth realm appears, a space with no path, no time, only the infinite expansion of consciousness, where future, past, and present are no longer three separate lines, but merge like still water after the wind has ceased. No more mirrors, no more hallways, no more alternate versions of yourself. In the fifth realm, time dissolves. There is no past to regret, no future to anticipate. Only a vast layer of presence where every moment exists all at once. Cayce called this realm the ocean of probabilities, not because everything is random, but because in absolute stillness, each possibility flows like a quiet stream toward a single point of convergence. The soul no longer sees life as a sequence of scenes, but as a map of light, where nodes of intersection shine with particular brightness. These are critical moments, points where individual or collective choices spark nearly inevitable shifts. Cayce saw these luminous nodes. One of them, he said, lies in the middle of the 21st century. There will be no war, no apocalypse, only a slow slide away from meaning, cities without light, people wearing masks, not from disease, but from forgetting how to connect with their eyes, children born with memories, belonging to souls that lived long before. No one will believe it, but no one will be able to explain it. Some nations will begin to vanish, not through weapons, but through the loss of a collective soul. There will no longer be a reason to exist. Cayce did not describe this future as a warning, but as a reminder. Humanity is also standing in its own third realm. And just ahead lies the global hall of mirrors, where the world must face the choices it has long refused to see. In the fifth realm, there are no instructions, no advice. The soul simply stands in a still field where all possibilities drift like mist, and within that mist, some images emerge more clearly than others. A new generation of humans, not biologically different, but entirely different in consciousness. They do not think in straight lines. They perceive time as streams of light. They do not need to be taught about past lives because they remember, not with memory, but with vibration. They feel the pain of others as their own. They sense events before they happen, as if they've already lived through them. They proclaim nothing, yet their mere presence illuminates those around them. But because of that, they will be rejected. Three waves will come for them. First, mockery. They will be called delusional, insane, fanatical. Next, isolation society will build systems to label them under medical, psychological, or public safety terms. Finally, temptation money, fame, status, but at the cost of abandoning the soul. Only those who have walked the hall of mirrors, only those no longer clinging to a limited self, will be able to pass through this realm. The fifth realm gives you nothing. It does only one thing. It dismantles your concept of time as you once knew it, so that you remember nothing is coming. Everything is already here, all at once, all in one stream. And in that silence, you begin to hear what has never been spoken, not through sound, but through resonance, not from outside, but from deep within your soul. The preparation for the sixth realm does not begin with action, but with the natural shedding of what is not truly you. No more anger, no more envy, no more desire to be above someone else, no more fear of being left behind. The next realm is not a place you arrive at. It is a place you return to after releasing everything that is no longer light within you. In the sixth realm, there are no more images, no more choices, no more words to speak. Here, the soul is not asked to do anything. It simply stands before no one, beneath no one, no longer being anyone. And it is in that stillness that a process begins, not through action, not through thought, but through dissolving. Cayce called this process the separation from the shadow, but not in the way most people think of evil or sin. The shadow here is not something to be destroyed. It is simply that which clung to the soul to build a fabricated identity, an ego shaped by fear, by wounds, by the urge to prove something to someone. In this realm, the soul does not fight the darkness. It simply lets go of what is no longer itself. The rage that once consumed the heart, the jealousy that once clouded the eyes, the fear that once kept one from living truthfully, all of it melts like mist in sunlight. No screams, no regret, only the feeling of becoming lighter. Cayce likened this state to shedding layer after layer of the heavy garments of the past until nothing clings anymore to the core light within. And then the soul begins to remember its true form, not a face, not a name, but a current of pure light, both fragile and unbreakable. This realm does not give you power. It gives you transparency. And from that transparency, you begin to feel something Cayce did not dare name, a presence that goes beyond even the concept of God. No throne, no voice from above, no mighty hand, only a radiant silence, an invisible yet all-encompassing state, not distant, but as if standing within every breath. Some souls, upon reaching this place, suddenly realize every prayer they ever whispered was never really necessary. Not because no one was listening, but because the listener was always inside since the very beginning. And here, for the first time, the soul feels that it needs nothing more. No desire to move forward, no wish to return, no search for answers, only pure presence. No time, no object to love or hate, only the self without the shadow. Not because it has defeated anything, but because it realizes there was never anything to defeat. This realm does not end in celebration. It ends in the dissolving of both the observer and the observed. No more two, no more boundary, no more distance. And then something happens, not from outside, not granted by anyone, just a door, no handle, no hinges, not open from the outside, not closed from the inside. And the soul understands this door cannot be crossed by will, because every form of will is but a subtle expression of fear. Only when the soul no longer wants to go anywhere, no longer seeks anything, does the door begin to fade. And within that dissolving into stillness, something begins to reveal itself. No name, no form, only a state of purity beyond language, beyond image. And in that moment, you have reached the edge of the seventh realm, the realm no one can describe. The realm where Cayce stopped speaking mid-sentence and left only one trembling line beneath pages of white. I am not permitted to speak of that place. No one has ever clearly described what the seventh realm is. There are no images, no descriptions, no words, only silence, an untouchable emptiness. And precisely because it cannot be touched, it is everywhere. Cayce ended his transcript here. His final line said nothing specific. Only this: I am not permitted to speak of that place, not because someone forbade him, but because language is no longer capable of carrying meaning. Those who have touched a similar state in deep meditation, in near-death experiences, or in the complete dissolution of the ego, all say the same thing. There is no I, no time, nothing happens, and because of that, everything appears. The seventh realm is not a destination. It is a complete dissolution. No more separation between the experiencer and the experienced. No more questions. No one asking. No desire to know. No light, because light requires a witness. No darkness, because darkness requires something to be hidden. Only the purest state. It cannot be called happiness. It cannot be called peace, because even those words imply division. And then, just as the soul completely dissolves, something strange happens. Not an ending, but a return. No longer carrying the old self. No purpose. No past or future. Only a presence as natural as the morning sun. Needing no reason. That soul may be reborn, not to fulfill something, not to repay karmic debts, but simply to be, to become a point of contact for that which cannot be spoken in a world that is forgetting itself. Perhaps you've met them, a stranger whose glance softens you, a child who says a single sentence that stills your heart, a dream that leaves you in tears for no reason at all. They don't carry a message. They are the message. Cayce said, souls who pass through the seventh realm are not far away. They don't become gods. They become presence light as breath, enduring as silence. They do not interfere. They do not guide. They do not heal you. But if you sit still enough, if you allow the noise to fall away, you will feel them, not out there, but within. Because every realm you've heard about doesn't only unfold after death, they are happening now. You may be stuck in the first realm, living a fogged life inside dreams not yet awakened. You may be crossing the second feeling, the pain of others, as your own. You may be opening to the third, realizing all things are connected. And deeper still, you may have already passed through them all. And now, there are no more questions to be answered. Only one question remains. Do you still want to return to the old dream? Or are you ready to go even further? No one will take you. No one is waiting ahead. No one is holding you back. There is only you and the remembering, not through memory, but through acceptance. Because death is not the end. It is a door. And the truth is not outside of you. It is you, when you are no longer afraid. If you've come with me through all the realms we've explored, it's possible. You don't need to understand every detail. You don't need to remember everything you've heard. Because what truly touches the soul never arrives through reason. It comes when you've been silent long enough to realize you're remembering something very old but never truly forgotten. Perhaps tonight, as you lay down to sleep, a strange dream will come. Not loud, not clear, just a feeling, as if standing before an invisible threshold, where there are no more human voices, only wind and light, and something you cannot name, but that makes you feel free. And if you find yourself no longer feeling alone, even in a place where no one seems to understand you, then perhaps someone has quietly walked beside you for a while. Because Cayce once said, when you begin to hear the voice within, don't argue, just follow. Not because someone told you to, not for any religion or philosophy, but because you've remembered that you are not the name you carry. not the things you've done, not the wounds you've held. You are the one watching all of that from behind. And if you felt something stir inside you, gently but undeniably real, then don't keep it to yourself. Leave a sign, not for the algorithm, but for other souls, so they know you've awakened. Because once we begin to remember, we realize we were never truly lost to one another, only temporarily lost the way home.